I knew you'd be against them.
Some sort, and the protesters at the point that video was taken, he just tweeted that out a few moments ago.
I decided to talk to you because I'm
Yes.
sick of your bullshit.
Yes.
So let's talk, motherfucker.
To Mr. McConnell, sir.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the show. We are live. This is Today the Day Media. My name is Vigilance, and I am followed by War Spirit. We had a lot to talk about, but it all got flooded with the events of January 6th, 2021. It's been a very interesting week, wouldn't you say, War Spirit?
Very interesting.
Yeah. And the questions now, where are we going from here? What is our predictions? What is the consequences of the actions taking place? So Right now, we are looking at a mass cleaning, and this is something I wanted to get out right now. We are looking at corporations, which we've talked about for a long time, like Facebook, Twitter, and other big name brands. Social media is gathering together against Trump and just like likely his constituents, especially after the riot. And I mean, I'm not gonna outright say it, but yeah, it was a riot. You take it for what it's worth. I don't think that's a negative thing in this case. Sorry to say, our nation was founded on illegal activity, crappy as that is. So, going with that, Facebook, Twitter, and every other major social media, just be weary, is going to start. They already banned Trump from Twitter permanently. They said that they're done with him because he incited this violence, which isn't true. The people had this on their own accord. They did this on their own. Wouldn't you agree, Spirit?
Yes.
And so
They Zuck also, from what he's saying, he's going to be banning him from his, for at least right now, too.
Right, to quell this whole nightmare, apparently. But here's the thing. There's been a lot of hypocrisy. There's been a lot of frustrations, and I understand. The country right now is more tense than and it's ever been in my lifetime, to say the least. It is, you could be quite terrified if you're not being careful. And also, I noticed that the date was a little wonky and that the page, that the initial thumbnail that should change in about 24 hours for this video is still the nativity scene, but hey, that's still fitting. We might be seeing a second coming in due time. Now, I'm not going to say a certain amount because nobody knows the time or day, but with how crazy things are getting, hey, who knows? That's what a lot of people have been sharing with me. But the riot in the Capitol, that's pretty much going to be our main talking subject today. We were going to talk about some things before that happened. But right now I don't think there's anything more important than what happened on the 6th. A day to go down in history. So, Spirit, is there anything you'd like to start with here?
Well, John, first, I just want us all to understand that we didn't want any of this to happen. We were forced for things that happen. We've tried to hold peaceful elections, and guess what? The elections were stolen from us.
Right.
We have also done our best to hold the peace, even when we didn't really even have to. When Antifa and all those were like going all crazy and doing stuff, were we rioting? Were we doing? No. And even now, when a young woman who was unarmed was murdered by a police officer during all this, are we rioting?
No.
No, we're not. And I also just want to let everybody know that the things that we are going to be saying here tonight, some might think, and trust me, we're not going to be that radical, but some might think some of the things we say are radical. And this may very well be our last podcast because of it. But
Yep.
we will not be silenced.
All right. And with that being said, we're looking into our options. As you know, the platforms we use are very anti-us. We are not sponsored by any corporation. We are not supported by anyone big. We are ourselves and Americans. And I think that speaks volumes. We are not paid for. We don't get anything out of what we push other than to be left alone. And just like every other American that is truly paying attention, they have reached their boiling point. And Congress, politicians, lobbyists, corporations, I will say this. You have better start watching yourself. You have done nothing but to make people very angry. You, not Trump, are the cause for this bloodshed. That poor woman that died and that poor officer who died on January 6th, and I'm not sure if there was, I think there was 4 deaths in total. Those 4 deaths were on you. Don't try to manipulate Americans. Don't try to manipulate us or make us ashamed of what happened that day. And conservatives, I tell you this right now. The Republican Party is compromised. As you can tell from Mike Pence, Dan Crenshaw, and the others. I've heard talk of forming a new party. It's being called the Patriot Party. I don't have any details on that, but it doesn't sound like a terrible idea right now. But I'm kind of against parties as a whole. I think we should do away with the party idea. But rather, right now, there's been this talk of a great reset from our new supposed leader, Joe Biden. This great reset of his is not the great reset that I would presume that we need. Because I see the Great Reset as the abolishment that's written in our Constitution that we have the right to uphold. I'm not saying to get rid of the government as it stands, but rather to restore the republic. I know this is a daunting idea, and yes, as War Spirit said, we are acting radical tonight, and we're not acting. I'm not saying we are radical. I'm expressing my freedom of speech and what I believe to be correct, and what I know to be correct. I'm not threatening anyone, but I have been threatened. We have continuously been threatened for years on end, for the last 2 decades, by this overreaching government. Right now we've reached the boiling point, and I think the main reason being is that Trump, in many people's eyes, was this country's last hope. With that being said, even if Trump did get in there, I don't think Congress would have allowed him to do anything, just like they haven't for the last 4 years.
You're right.
And so, whoever started this, and this is where I'm talking to conservatives here, a lot of you have been saying Antifa is to blame for the violence on Capitol Hill. I would advise strongly against spreading that message. Why should we be ashamed of what happened there? These people, and these are someone else's words, not my own, but these people, I'm going to put quotation marks here.
What do you mean by you people? Never mind.
Yeah. These old, rich, heartless people in our Congress, for years on end, have sent young men to die in their lobbyist wars. Our sons. They have controlled our media. They have divided our people and caused more hatred and bloodshed than you could imagine. And to see them cower on the floor like a bunch of scared mutts like they are was my favorite part of the last 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't care who started it. I wanted it to be finished. Sadly, it wasn't. I'm not going to do that. But I think I'm well within my rights to say I wish someone would. So,
Right.
With that being going on, I want people to, instead of being ashamed or trying to run away from this, no, it wasn't us, you'll say. It wasn't us, it was Antifa. It was them, they're the violent ones. Now, how about we take it for once? How about we accept it? Because they're going to believe what they believe anyways. The media is already going to tell these blind bastards that we did it on our own accord. So what good is it to say Antifa did it at this point? Because if Antifa did it, and I've said this to many people, it'd be the first good thing they've done.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong, I ain't suggesting we side with communists. Not by any means. I would rather side with a sick dog vomiting its guts out before I'd side with a communist any day. But here we are. At perhaps the most radical stand, like you said, Warspit, this could be our last show. We
Right.
could very well disappear from social media after this. and have to resort to other means of communication. We will not stop broadcasting. We will not stop speaking. If it means having to use radios, having to use Morse code, we will speak. We will be heard. If it means going out in the street with a megaphone, we will say it.
Yep.
And if anything else, they cannot rob one thing from us, and that's the glory of God. I am a Christian American. I believe what I believe, and I'm not going to sugarcoat this because of my Christianity.
Right.
I am a free man because God intended me to be a free man, and I will die a free man. So, there's going to be a lot of people that want bloodshed. There's going to be a lot of people. We didn't want this. Every episode, even now, we wanted things to be diplomatic, and every day that has gone past, it slips further and further out of our reach. Either the solutions come, or the worst comes.
Mm-hmm.
And the worst, leave it to your imagination. If it's as you believe, the biblical cookies, where it's the chip and all that other stuff, it's on its way. I'm not going to say it's under Joe Biden, and I can't tell you that. But the New World Order is moving rapidly, and we need to be moving too. I'm glad we got to enjoy our holidays with our family. That was nice.
It was.
But now it's serious business, more serious than it has ever been. And you may have noticed that I haven't chuckled and I haven't cackled or made any jokes because this is, to say the least, it's made my back a little bit tense.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say I'm afraid, but I'm being cautious and I'm keeping my eyes open. Times are upon us like we have never seen before, and I am honored to live in this historical moment. I thank God for placing me at this time in history. There is a reason for all of us to be here, and I ask every Christian and every non-Christian, get saved, firstly, but I ask every Christian that realizes this to truly ask why God has put you here. What talent do you have that will serve the freedom of your children, of your wife, of your family? What will you provide for God's glory? And yes, I am putting America and God next to each other. I'm not saying that America is anywhere near God. I'm sure a lot of this is happening because of God's wrath. We have not been a good country. We kill our children in the womb. We celebrate pedophilia on our television screens. There is no doubt in my mind God is executing wrath on this country. We must do what we can to try and put it right again. Because God knows the difference. God knows there are good people here. He's just been waiting for us to act.
Right.
So, whatever that means, pray. Because I honestly couldn't tell you. I don't know God's plan. I don't know. But you should pray. Ask Him to tell you where you fit in. Because there's going to be a time when you better know. And for the long time, I've been thinking this show is where I fit in. But at the fragility of it, it's so fragile what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
We're walking on ice. And if we fall in that ice, there's no doubt we can swim back to shore. I got Swedish blood. But it's going to be hard rebuilding. And so if you do know us, keep us in your prayers. And of course, we'll keep you in ours. These are trying times. And I know I've kind of ranted on for a long time. I kind of didn't really have anything written down other than just what was on my heart. And
it's a lot like sands to the hourglass.
Yeah. It's like you're
so
just
were the
watching
days of our lives.
Yeah. And I'm glad that, things are exciting. I'm glad things have been exciting for the last 2 days and the last 2 years. You know, I felt so much purpose overwhelm me because without that, you know, I got to say, personal life hasn't been too exciting. But now this is my calling. This is my passion. I will yell from the rooftops freedom at all costs. Are you watching something, War Spirit?
Watching?
I don't know. I just heard some background noise. I wasn't sure what that was.
That was my Keurig.
Oh, you making some coffee?
Yes, sir.
Atta boy. So what happened on January 6th? Well,
It's you know, it's funny, and I think you mentioned this too, and I was thinking the same thing because I remember that morning, sitting there in my office thinking, you know, what is going to happen today?
mm-hmm.
Because we've all been talking about January 6th, January 6th, January 6th, and kind of waiting and anticipating because of the anticipated voting and all that stuff of the states and all that. And I remember thinking, you know, is something crazy going to happen today too? And sure enough, something crazy did happen. I wasn't even aware that there was going to be that many people in DC. And so when I first got the word that there was that many people by a colleague of mine, he sent me, actually his wife sent me a bunch of photos. They're actually my former employers. I didn't know there was going to be that many people. There had to have been at least 100,000 people around the house. And then the next thing I hear is they broke into the house.
Yeah, it was fast.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was literally like 5-10 minutes, and they were like they were there, and then they were breaking in. And I think the reason why they ended up breaking into the house, I think it would have remained a peaceful protest outside had Mike Pence done his job. And what was his job, John?
To protect the American Constitution.
Correct. And what did he do?
Betrayed America.
That's correct.
To put it simply, and I know that's a very broad term, but if I were to put it very simple, you know, he failed his duty as a conservative, and he failed his duty as a patriot. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, you don't know that. You're just trying to stop a voted election, a fair election. No, stop saying that. For the love of God, stop spreading that lie. It has gotten so old. I know, like in a lot of things you take with a grain of salt, with like a yeah, maybe. But are you kidding me? After all the proof that has been laid down in front of us, we are both playing the lines of we want our side to win, and that's why it's gotten so hectic. And I understand that. But just look at this party that is blatantly lying, and you will know which side has truth.
Right.
And, you know, it's not the first time the elections have been cheated. It probably won't be the last time. And if it is the last time, that might be that's either a good or a bad thing.
Well, and that's unfortunately the sad truth of the matter is until these things are actually completely addressed, until it's completely addressed, it's going to keep happening. We no longer have free elections right now.
It's very, very, very potent.
And people don't want to talk about it, but it's true.
No, it's hard to say how long this has been going on. And we all have known something's been going on. We were expecting Hillary to win. I don't know how that didn't go through. I don't know how. I really don't. I don't know how we managed to get 4 years of Trump. I think it was a blessing and a reprieve, and we should have acted when we had the time to prepare for the inevitable. Whatever the inevitable means, leave that to your own imagination. Yeah. It's kind of hard to say. You know, a lot of people think that, oh, well, people will shift back the other way in 4 years, but I don't know. I don't think there's going to be a democracy in 4 years. I don't think the American people are going to take it, and I think in retaliation there's going to be martial law declared, and you know how it
the
goes
other
from there.
side, the other side has found out now through programs and ballot cheating and all this that they can control the elections.
Precisely.
So frankly, and I'm sorry, this might actually make some conservatives angry at me. I don't see the use in going and voting anymore.
Yeah.
And some people say, "Oh, you're just crying because your guy won. You're just pouting." No, that's not it. If Joe Biden had won fair and square, I would not have a problem with it. I would be a little bit perturbed because I still don't stand for the things he stands for, but I wouldn't be this concerned. For example, when Obama got elected, I was concerned and I was wondering, is things going to go south? But I never questioned the validity of the election.
Right.
That's the difference.
Precisely. We are in... well, let's just put it this way. People they're doing these radical things. They're outright rioting, at least in the case of Capitol Hill, because the lies are blatant. They are obvious. They have been more obvious now than in the last 20 years.
Are they still rioting?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay. The way you put it, I thought they were
No, I
still getting it
apologize.
on.
I wish they were. I don't think this should stop. I think they should have occupied the house.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's the thing here. That's what I tell people. It's like, oh, well, we have the right to do this. It's in our Constitution. Do you really think that the Congress and the politicians are going to recognize this? Do you really think they're going to be like, oh, you're just following the Constitution and just sit down and shut up? Because I feel like that's what a lot of conservatives think. I feel like, oh, that's in the Constitution? My bad. Like, they're just going to stop. Like, they're just going to give up and say, oh, they're just following the Constitution. I've been a bad boy. No, they're going to fight back. They're going to call you a domestic terrorist. They're going to call you all sorts of names.
There's a reason why they didn't keep going, though, with the House.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know if you knew this, but the Yak guy, I don't know what his real name is. I just call him the Yak guy. Many of you may have seen him with the red, white, and blue face with the
he's
Viking
in our
horns.
video. He's got the horns on his head.
He's a Special Ops Navy SEAL Delta Force guy.
All right.
And he went in to get Nancy Pelosi's laptop, and once he got it, I mean, he said, "Hey, this is over. Let's get out of here before we get caught."
Dude, that's enough. All right. Look, and let's comment on that. There's been a lot of ridiculous things I've heard lately. Like, I remember the most ridiculous thing I heard, like, before all this was like, Trump's got radioactive isotopes on the ballots, and he's gonna find out which ones are fake and which ones are real, right?
Yeah.
Don't
worry. He's got that, and it's a sting operation.
Yeah. And so, like, the one I read, and this is what War Spirit is joking about. We don't genuinely believe that Yak
We
Man
don't?
was.
Maybe you don't.
All right. I think that he's a patriotic hippie who went through a time portal from the 60s. But here he is, rather kind of an unimportant figure, but he is the face of the uprising on the 6th, to say the least. But I've heard some ridiculous things like he had cameras in his horns and he was a Delta Force Navy SEAL sent in by Trump. No. There is reports, and this is, as far as I can tell, true, of patriots having achieved Pelosi's computer. I hope it's in the hands of someone who's competent to get what they need off of it. If not, then, well, congratulations, you just got a plastic box.
Yeah, some boomer. I think we can get AOL on this thing.
Right, you've got mail. Yeah.
I better go outside then.
Yeah, and Patriot76, I noticed your comment here. Don't forget about Pence selling his integrity. We actually covered that just a few moments ago. Yes, Very disappointed in Mike Pence. In many ways, I preferred him to Trump. I'll be honest, I really liked Pence. I really liked the way he handled himself and his professionalism. But now, seeing that he just crumpled under pressure, I'm really wondering what the heck, you know? And,
you know what I think it is? Rush Limbaugh talked about this actually earlier today, and I agree with Rush. Unless, and Rush didn't say this because he doesn't go into the deep state stuff as deeply as I kind of gander and ponder. But he either had some kind of threat against him or his family, so he had to do it, or, and this is probably, unfortunately, sadly more likely, people in Washington, if they want to stay in Washington, they have to play the game. And he knew that Trump's era is ending, was over, as far as, unless they put up this huge fight, and he didn't want to be seen as controversial in that area. So he just went along with the flow.
Right. I mean, and, you know, that's right when the crowd rushed in. And, of course, Trump, I remember hearing this, that Trump was telling everyone to stop. Well, at this point, it's not about Trump anymore. And I know that's going to piss off a lot of Republicans and a lot of conservatives. This isn't about Trump. I'll be honest, I don't think it ever really was. Trump was a line in the sand. It was a good hope to have that he would get in there and he would fix this. He would drain the swamp.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at this point, it's clear that he has been incapable. But the message still stands. Don't forget that. There's a swamp in D.C., in Hollywood, and the evils that have been committed by the swamp are horrendous. I'm talking stuff that makes Pol Pot look like a saint. You know.
Right.
These people, these Congress members, both sides, I don't really care at this point, get rid of all of them, have thrown this nation into chaos. They burned down these cities. They caused this riot. And they were behind Epstein.
They caused the Yak Man.
They were behind the Yak Man. They summoned that guy.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, a lot of people, like, going back to that, they're saying, oh, Antifa did it, Antifa did it. I don't care. It needed to be done. I have no regret and no shame for what happened in the Capitol. I just don't think we went far enough.
That is correct. I agree.
Yep. Dare I say it. You know, record me now. So, you know, back on that, tactically speaking, find where you fit in. Times are changing now quickly. And I will say this, you know, and this is kind of an unrelated note, kind of a related note. I'm looking forward to COVID just disappearing.
You think it will?
Yeah. Now that Biden's in charge, it kind of, like, I think a part of me, like, I think they're going to be like, oh, everything's fine now. You can come out because we don't need COVID to scare people anymore.
I was thinking about this, and it can happen in one of two ways. It can either, disappear, and it's going to be wonderful because of Biden, or they're going to encourage everybody to, like, businesses, like literally towns, to shut down and go into a real, actual quarantine to get everybody on the government dime.
Right. I'll tell you right now, that government dole will rot your soul. Stay away from it.
Uh-huh.
Ugh. And
that's just it. If they can get everybody used to breadcrumbs and they don't want to go back, well, then they got control of you.
Exactly. That is exactly what socialism has always been. And there's the thing about this stimulus. I don't care about money. I've watched as these politicians and our governor, Michelle Lujan Grisham, has robbed the livelihoods and the hard work of innocent people trying to make a living, all so she could get to be little Biden's favorite. All in the name of this political game which we all fall victim to. I could care less about a stimulus check. I never wanted a handout from the government. I'll use it. I'll use it for stuff that the government probably wouldn't be appreciative of. Is it going to be illegal? No. Is it going to be stuff you wish I didn't have? So, that being said, I didn't want a handout. I wanted to be left alone. Crying out loud, from the beginning, I wanted to be left alone.
Yep.
Getting a message from fan on Facebook. See if it's... Okay, so this might be important. We have apparently a rotor wing. That's a helicopter circling Farmington right now. This is a helicopter from the New Mexico State Police. Supposedly. What does that imply? I don't know. But just a heads up. Hey, we're talking some crap today. Who knows? Maybe that helicopter will pop in and a bunch of dudes will break in my door tonight. I don't really care. Go ahead, arrest me. I haven't done nothing wrong. I've spoke my mind. I have done nothing violent. I've condoned nothing violent.
You have spoken against the Fiera Mommy Grisham.
Yeah.
And you will be punished.
Right.
With the spanking of your bottom.
Yeah. Yeah. So, things are ramping up. Things are ramping up. So thank you, listener, for informing us of that. If you want to have a look at that War Spirit, it's in our inbox on our page.
Well, that's good to know. Was that just now?
Just
that was
now.
posted?
I think they're listening to the show tonight, actually.
Well, good.
I'm not going to reveal anything about them.
No. Don't do that.
So
I'm glad that they're giving us a heads up.
Yep. Thank you very much. You may have saved some lives tonight. So anyways, moving on. We are in dire times, America. And what is important to you? And this is a good question. What do we do? Where do we go from here? Look, I don't know what lines have been crossed. That, stuff gets around slowly. But it also goes off like a freaking bomb. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so, what does it all imply? What does it all mean? Where are we going? And, the New Mexico State Police and state police worldwide had better start watching themselves. They are stepping on toes of very angry people. Especially now that their hope has been basically removed for a lot of people, being Trump. Luckily, I believe in God.
Yes.
I feel bad for any atheists who supported Trump today. Because they ain't got nothing left.
There's something really strange going on with our page on Facebook right now. I try to check our inbox, and it says content not found. Join Facebook or log in to continue.
Uh-oh. Okay, I can confirm that I'm able to access it. So,
well, that's great.
Yeah, so I don't know what's going on your end, but our page, as far as I can tell,
I
is
can
still up.
access the page.
Okay. I'm
But
not
it won't
sure
let me
why
ac-
it's
it
not
won't
letting you
let me
see that.
access. Yeah,
Yeah.
it won't let me access the inbox.
As far as I know, yeah, I don't know. Check your personal page too while you're at it.
Yeah, I just did.
Okay. So
I can access everything but the inbox. So
if you
I
can't
don't
tell,
know.
we're a little bit on edge tonight.
No kidding.
We got a reason to be, everybody. We do. And because, like we said, this might be our last show. If it's not, it's not. We'll be back next Friday. Hooping and hollering, having a good old time, as always. But right now, we've never had a show in this kind of climate. The climate's gotten pretty rough a few times, especially on the local scale. So I wonder what kind of surveillance that this state police could be doing. So my thing, right? The state police. They have been stepping on toes for a long time. I have no beef with them on a personal level, but others who have lost their businesses, that's one way to radicalize people, and it should be very scary. They should take this very seriously.
Yeah.
Because I have seen people lose all they've worked for, their hard lives worked, gone, because the governor wanted a puppet. Also got that message, fan. That's on my personal page, though. Appreciate that. Thanks for checking that. Other than that, yeah. So I don't know. If we go down, we go down. If Zuckerberg strikes us down, then we can't really do much.
Right.
If Google strikes us down, we can't really do much. We are only as strong as our signal. If you haven't understood what that's meant, that's exactly what it means. We are you. You spread us around.
You just got really quiet.
Uh-oh. Let me see here. Let me check that. Sometime my microphone does that. It looks like I'm broadcasting still good on the OBS that we use. Are you still having trouble hearing me?
You sound like you're just went far away from your microphone.
Yeah,
I
no,
still hear you.
yeah. I'm not really sure. Sometimes Discord acts a fool. We are just getting bombarded with Murphy right now, dude.
Well, I just want to make sure, that as long as our listeners can hear you, I can still hear you. I just noticed a considerable drop in your audio.
I don't know. Is it back yet?
No.
Okay. Let me go ahead and reconnect to the app here. How about now?
It's the same.
Crap. Sometimes it goes, sometimes it...
As long as our listeners let us know, as long as you guys can hear Jonathan, that's great. I can still hear him. Yeah.
Well, okay, he hears us fine. Thank you, Patriot 76. We're moving on.
Thanks, Patriot.
So yeah, guys, I do suggest practicing OPSEC. Today I've made a lot more posts, more than I intended on my Facebook, but I really stress even just being quiet about politics. If you use social media, use it to talk to family and use it to share
Post
memes.
videos.
Yeah, funny videos.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I think that everything we standardly would use has been compromised by an overreaching foe. So that's why we practice safety here. We try not to mention names. But generally, I mean, like me and War Spirit, our identities are pretty easy to find, so don't worry. Don't worry. You guys won't be in trouble for listening to us. We'll be the ones who get taken down and shot up in a firing squad. Who knows? Because that's what the enemy wants. They want our blood. They want everybody who doesn't agree with them to be either in a slave camp or dead. Do not be mistaken. But do remain calm. Don't go drawing all your cards and playing them all at once. Because the game's still going. So, What a night, man. So what happened on January 6th as protesters rallied? It was precursored. I remember even getting an invite myself to attend the Million Man March, or whatever it was called, in Washington. And I believe even one said to storm the Capitol.
I remember I saw something similar.
Yeah, and I'm just sitting back, and everyone's like, "Oh, it wasn't us." I'm like, "Oh, yes, it was." You can't disclaim it, and I don't want you to. I don't want you to be ashamed of
that
this.
would be like, of course. Well, okay, so to be fair, the guys that did the Boston Tea Party said, "Oh yeah, it wasn't us," but that's because they dressed like Indians, okay?
Yeah.
Because they didn't want their identities, all right? But
Well, it's not the only ones to dress up like Indians, apparently.
oh, you mean the Yak Man?
Yeah,
He's more of a Viking.
I guess
He's
so.
like a gay Viking.
Yeah, gay Viking.
A gay Viking.
Yeah, the second revolution is kicked off by a dude in a bison suit looking like a gay Viking. Talking about, like, this dude is mental, don't get me wrong. He's a bit looped up in the head.
I would love to interview this guy.
Oh, I'd love to talk with him.
Just so you know out there, sir, if you ever hear us, is today the media would love to interview you.
It would be fantastic. You know, that'd be like Bolak showing up on our show.
Oh man, Tommy, bro, even though I didn't vote for you for sheriff, sir, please, we would love to get a vote for you, or not a interview from you. You're a very interesting man, and we would love to hear how you would treat an occupying force in Farmington.
I think I hear that rotor.
Oh,
yep, there he is. I see him.
Are you serious?
Yeah, he's right outside my door. He's flying around right now. He's not like real close to me, but he's I'd say he's flying over right now. I'd say he's flying over Aaron's Furniture Store.
The police chopper, or is it just the sheriff's chopper?
It's a chopper, and I mean, being that we have a map up right now of the New Mexico State Police chopper flying around, I bet you that's what it is.
A map up? What do you mean?
If you check that message, it's got maps on it and stuff. I know you said you can't access it, and I can't really share those right now.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, our fan was nice enough to include messages. Is it looping back? Yeah.
He's looking for you.
Yeah, right. He's gonna be like, "Where's that signal coming from? We're looping it down." Looks like he's heading east right now. Yeah, pretty crazy stuff. We got choppers in the sky. We got, dude. Who knows, man? Who knows? Paranoia setting in. There's something happening here. What it is ain't exactly clear. Yeah. Would you look at that? So this is definitely the most entertaining show.
No kidding, huh?
Yeah, my
Well, I invite them to find where I'm at. I have VPN going that's skipping from 3 different countries at once right now. So,
all right, well, I've just got it straight going right now. If they want to find me, they can. Oh Lord, they can. I don't really care what they do. I don't think I'd put up a fight or nothing. I'd just be like, all right, make me a martyr. Go ahead and arrest me. See how that goes.
I don't know.
Oh yeah, at that point though,
You're
you're right.
They're gonna make me a martyr, all right.
Yeah, and you're right. You know, because they have no right to do that. I've done nothing wrong. I've done nothing illegal. You could search my house. I've got nothing illegal. Everything I've got is well within my rights, both via the Constitution and the crap that the Democrats have released even afterwards is well within my rights. So if you want to come after me,
okay.
yeah.
I mean, to wear dresses and stuff, so, you know.
Oh yeah, you might find those too. Just don't touch my high heels. Those are a lot of money.
Yeah, you got those Louis Vuittons.
Them things Gucci. Louis Vuitton. What are you talking about?
It's Gucci.
Hey, man, you know,
You ever
survive.
heard you know the movie The Devil Wears Prada? The Jonathan Wears Prada.
do. Vigilance in Prada. I got the
Vigilant
best
Wears
Prada. God is bigger than the boogeyman. Thank you, Drama Pink Girl. Beautiful comment. I suggest everybody listen to that song tonight. With by
Yes.
Silly Songs on VeggieTales. Is that the name of the song? God is bigger than the boogeyman?
God is bigger than the boogeyman, and for some reason your audio's back to normal now.
Very good. I'm glad to hear it. And I'm sure it's just a signal thing with Discord because I'm reading it on my OBS. It's broadcasting as it was. The same thing happens when I'm playing Barotrauma, amazing game, with my friends. Sometimes the mic gets all weirded out, and I think it's a signal thing.
Oh dear Lord. So listeners, he won't shut up about this game.
Hey, we'll get into that. I think we have far more
He
pressing
thinks
things
it's
to
like the
cover.
best game since like the first NES invented Mario.
Yeah, I really do think it is the best game to me, anyways. Yeah. It's a game about submarines. That's pretty much all it is. But I genuinely think we've got more important things to cover right now.
Do all
than
of you,
my hobbies.
when you guys are playing the game, when you guys are playing that game, do all of you live in one? And is it yellow?
We all live in a yellow submarine. A yellow submarine. Hey, you know, speaking of things, is Today of the Day Media. We might, you know, like I remember a few episodes ago when you were talking about diving in Navajo Lake back in the day.
Yeah.
I was thinking how great it would be if we had a pirate station on a submarine. You know, we talked about that very concept. So I'm just training for the future.
There you go.
Yep.
Well, but now you're bringing it up again. So now, I mean, like, there's very few, just so you know, places that we could operate a submarine
Oh,
in the Four Corners area.
oh well, we'll find a place. There's a few places we can go. I'm sure with a nuclear reactor, we'd be able to power up one hell of a transceiver.
We don't like have it in San Juan River, but it's like not deep enough for it, so like half of it's
Just
sticking out.
scraping along the bottom. Sir, there's a hull breach.
We got camo netting on the top. Yeah,
Hell yeah!
it's blue water camo.
It's all blue water camo, and all the water around here is like brown and green.
Yeah, yeah.
It stands out like a sore thumb, wouldn't it? Just do multicam on it. That'd do.
That'll work.
Oh, it's multicam for a reason. Works everywhere. If you ain't got
That's
multicam yet, I'm done with the debate. Get you some multicam. Stop playing around. Dear listeners, I tell you, multicam is the bomb for here. Seriously.
I have brought him in to the fold.
Oh, absolutely. I didn't really have a favorite like camo, and like multicam isn't by any means like my favorite, but by golly, is it the most useful. Like, it is the most useful, period. Are you still there, War Spirit?
I am.
I was about to say, uh-oh. All I hear is the sound of a chopper and your comms cut.
Well, just so you know, and I'm not paranoid or nothing, but I went and got my best friend and set it right beside me because of all this talk about choppers.
You go ahead and keep the show rolling.
Yeah.
What do you want to talk about? Something to do with Capitol Hill? Trump, what's he doing? Maybe we could get into that.
Yeah, so Trump did a speech today, or actually, I guess it was last night and into today, basically saying, you know, that he was gonna be complying with the separations, of powers as far as conversion and everything, but he never conceded, and he said that he wanted to let the American people know that he was not done fighting.
Yeah, that bird's still
And,
circling Farmington.
And that was, kind of comforting. I'm kind of at the point where it really doesn't matter to me anymore because I don't see really anything else that he can do. If Pence isn't backing him up and the rest of the Republicans aren't backing him up, I just don't see what else can be done civilly.
Right.
So I truly think, and I want our listeners to know this, that we are going into a basically like an occupation style way of living, and you need to think of it that way,
Yep.
is like an occupying force. And so you kind of need to hunker down. Don't be posting stuff on Facebook other than, again, like cat videos and stuff like that. Keep your mouth shut.
Imagine
I know
you're a
that
French
this is-
man and the Nazis just invaded.
Yeah, exactly.
Act as such.
So you got to start thinking, yeah, perfect. Like, like French resistance style thinking of, hey, keep hush hush, loose lips sink ships.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's just what we're gonna have to do is do it that way. I do want to cover something kind of fun.
Sure.
Because we were talking about it the other day, and for you listeners, maybe you don't know either. And if any listeners out there are listening do know, what is the difference in a service weapon and a carry weapon for your
This is a
sidearm?
good topic. What is the difference between a carry weapon and a service weapon? Very good topic that I learned personally just a few days ago.
Yeah. It was funny because me and Jonathan were just visiting on the phone, like we do most days, and he was saying that he was, maybe looking into getting some more steel or something. That I mean, and then he's like, well, no, I'll lose it in a boating accident anyways. But he was looking at it, and I said, well, what are you looking for? Are you looking for a carry weapon or a service weapon? He said, what do you mean? It's like, aha, I know what our topic is going to be for the fun topic. So a carry weapon, typically, and this isn't all, but a carry weapon is something that you can easily conceal under, in my opinion, like a medium to light t-shirt. And that in most cases, for most people, is a single stack 9mm. That would be what I would consider a carry weapon. For example, the SIG 365 and or 365 XL, those are phenomenal carry weapons. The Glock 43 is a good carry weapon. The one bridge to that, and that's why I said the XL. So the 365 XL, and I would say like the Glock 19, those are kind of like hybrids. They're in between, because you can still carry them concealed quite well, but you can also, especially the 19, make it more of a GTW weapon. Now, GTW is a acronym that actually a YouTuber called Nut and Fancy coined the phrase of, and I like it. It means go to war weapon. And so you got to think about, like, when you look at a pistol, would I strap this on like a drop leg holster to go to war with? And obviously, you don't want to go to war with a single stack 9mm.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does to me. Because I had a very small pistol back in the day, and I just couldn't see myself in, like, say I was in Afghanistan. That would be a very, very crap sidearm. Granted, it'd be a fine sidearm, say in a daily occurrence. Say somebody mugs me outside of a gas station or something, it would be fine. That's your carry weapon. The go to war weapon is you're getting shot at by by maybe foes in an open battlefield. Do you want to have a small little pocket gun to be your sidearm if your main gun runs out or whatever? It's very rare that generally, if usually you don't get to use your sidearm. If you get that low, you're usually dead. But on that
in the old days, a lot of old, if there's any old timers listening, think of it this way: a carry weapon is what y'all would call a Saturday night special.
Mm-hmm.
It's something small. Maybe even I wouldn't consider this. I wouldn't recommend carrying this, but like, say for example, in the Old West, a Derringer that you kept like in a vest pocket.
Yeah, one of those very small
That's-
little pistols.
That's a carry weapon. 2 shots. It isn't gonna fight off a horde of redskins, but it's gonna keep you safe at the card table.
Right, it'll keep you safe at the card table. Sorry, that's just a horde of redskins. In this case, we're talking about communists.
There you go.
Yep. So,
What did you think I was talking about?
No, that was communists.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Nothing to do with anybody who scalped anybody or anything back in the day. No, nothing like that.
I got a yawn.
That's bad. Oh man, this sure got patchy. You got a patchy here, patchy there.
Man, the hole goes deeper.
Yeah. We have nothing wrong with Native Americans. Just a disclaimer.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good example. You know, a cowboy wouldn't want to get stuck against that.
That's like, so it's racist now. You know, every real Apache that I actually personally talked to, they're proud of their warrior heritage.
Oh yeah, and they were awesome.
So,
Yeah.
and they were a tough breed of people to fight.
Yeah.
We beat them, but barely.
Yeah.
Just because we had better technology. That's the only reason.
Yeah. You know, more than a Derringer, to say the least. So,
That's
anyways, but yeah, no, it's good to be considering these types of things. Preparation as a whole, everything we've talked about and everything you've learned in your own travels and time. Now it's time to start really considering this and what it means. Where are you going to go? What are you going to do? Build a plan with your family. Build a plan with the people you care about. Become part of something. That's a big one.
Mm-hmm.
Get yourself a group of allies that you trust, and I mean trust. They're very hard to find these days. A lot of people want to use others as a pawn, and they'll pretend to be with you and for freedom, but all they want is you to run on front lines.
Uh-huh.
Don't join a group that wants you to die for them. That's my suggestion. But do get in a group. A good group, and if you can't find one, start one. So, right now...
Well, real quick, too, since I mentioned go to war weapons, but I didn't give any examples.
Okay.
Some good go-to war weapons would be like a Glock 17, a SIG P320, which I never would have recommended the 320, but over the holiday season, I got to shoot one. And all fixed up with a red dot Trijicon RMR. That thing was really nice. That has made me a really big SIG fan. I want a SIG now.
I've kind of always wanted a SIG, especially a P226. That'd be really cool.
Oh, a 226 is iconic, to be sure.
Oh, yeah.
I would love to have a 226.
No.
But I don't know if I would carry a 226.
Right.
Like even a GTW. The 320 is just, it's so nice. And it had an upgraded trigger in it. This one actually was the Wilson Combat Frame SIG. So the fellow that let me shoot this, he's into competition shooting, and I think he won it. And it's like a $1,500 gun. But even just a stock 320 is amazing. It and just to be clear to all you guys out there, I'm sure you know if you've listened to me for any time, I'm a big Glock guy.
Yeah, you love those Glocks.
And I would consider changing to SIG.
Right.
So I gotta admit, SIG is impressed me.
Right.
Another cool thing about SIG is in the 320 and the 365 and 365 XL, they come stock with tritium night sights on most models when you buy them. You don't have to pay any extra for that. It's included in the price. Whereas, I will admit, Glock comes with plastic fixed sights.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
just something to consider.
There's a lot to consider in these times. A lot to consider. I think the
if
main...
you can even find one to purchase right now. Right now, if you're looking for a handgun, it might be whatever you can find is the best gun.
Seriously. No kidding, man.
Playa be buying a Kel-Tec PMR.
Well, it could be worse. You could be one of those poor people stuck with a 1911.
Dang.
You better make those shots
here's
count.
A question. Here's a question though. Would you rather have a 1911 or you know what pistol I'm going to mention?
Uh-oh.
The Yeet Cannon.
Oh yeah, the YC9 or whatever.
Yeah, oh, I'm having a brain fart.
I can't remember its specific name, but yes, the YC9 or whatever it was called.
Yes, the freaking the one that all the freaking gangbangers, the thing.
I cannot believe it. That is so surreal to me. Like, even that being said, this new leader that's going to dictate us, right? Are you serious?
Oh, he's just gonna be they're gonna keep him in the shadows as much as possible.
Yeah, it's gonna be Kamala.
You're gonna see, yeah, and I'm not even gonna say Kamala. I don't care. Screw her.
Yeah.
Kamala's gonna be the figurehead.
No kidding. Yeah, and that's something too. These groups that you might consider joining, please be careful. Something else that could happen. Patriot 76 made an excellent point. Federales infiltrating. So be careful.
See.
Yeah. So be careful about that. You know, especially if they're sitting there, you join the group and they're like, hey, yeah, you know all this illegal crap we're doing and like all this like illegal guns we got and how to make them. Probably a Fed.
Yeah. Yeah, if you go to a group and like the first thing everybody's talking about is, and next week we're going to be making TNT, you probably better not want to go into there.
Yeah.
Just saying. I'm probably going down, and it probably not good.
Right. Stay away from the wooden cabin. That's our new. That's a code phrase of ours.
Yes.
Yeah. Especially now, man. Jeez, it makes me wonder with all these prophetic dreams I've had. Just like, you know how I dreamt about like COVID-19 before it happened, and this is serious, guys. I dreamt about it, and I dreamt there being like this huge virus, but like nobody was like dying. But they had like streets and cities shut down and stuff by tanks and like blockades and stuff. So who knows? Maybe that was supposed to happen this year. And maybe there's going to be a strain that actually starts like killing people that they have kicked up in order to get their control. Who knows?
Yeah, very well. Could
very
be
possible. So be very careful with that. Because they're even announcing now, like, oh, there's a specific USA strain that's come about. Interesting. A virus made in China has adapted specifically to Americans? But anyways, it's all very, very peculiar, very odd, very, scary times. But I urge everyone, it's nothing to be ashamed. Courage is doing the right thing despite your fears.
Amen.
Because I will be honest, yeah, there's fear on my back tonight. I'm scared, man. But I have a duty to myself, duty to everyone else, and a duty to God to do the right thing. And that's why I'm talking.
I'd be a lot less scared if I can get a Viking helmet like the Yak Man. I think that's gonna be
I think
my next,
anybody, if you put that on, it's just fear just leaves.
I think that's gonna be my next prepper purchase is a Viking Yak Man hat.
Heck yeah.
Now, would it work though if I don't have my arms tattooed with bricks?
They're going to be under the multicam anyway.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, I would love
Could
to
you
see
imagine
that.
though, like take it back to like a little bit more serious, like an enemy seeing some dude in full blown multicam with a yak helmet running over, like yelling and screaming with a fixed bayonet.
It's going to be like that scene. It's going to be like that scene from the Green Mile. He done pissed his pants. It'll be Percy there running, the state trooper named Percy. He done pissed his pants.
That reminds me of a friend of mine. He was a ex-army dude that I used to hang with. He moved away years ago, but good friend of mine. We did some ham radio stuff together, and we went up to his pop's place up around Dove Creek, and we were doing what's called Field Day in June. Ham radio operators all get together in June. It's usually, I think it's June 21st usually, and they all operate like in a disaster scenario type of deal where you don't have house power. You're running off of like car batteries and stuff. And we stayed up at his cabin and ran radio stuff all night. And he was a cool old dude because he was ex-Marine that fought in Korea. And he had a really funny / scary, interesting story about fixing bayonets. And he said that it was one night, I forgot what it was. He was taking the hill and all this stuff. I can't remember that part. But the Chinese were making an advance towards them, and it was getting towards dark. It was almost dark, but they could see the Chinese kind of silhouetted over the hill, and of course the Chinese could see them on the other side. And back then they still had these long freaking bayonets. I mean, like it was a bayonet. And so they affixed bayonets on purpose as the sun was going down. So when they were sticking up over the foxhole, the Chinese could see these thousands of bayonets. And then as it got dark, they just started yelling and screaming like they were going to charge. And all of a sudden, the Chinese ran.
Yeah.
They thought the Marines were coming over the hill with those affixed bayonets, and they wasn't having none of it.
Yeah, no, seriously. So, there's a lot of psyops and stuff. Sorry, while you were talking there, I was kind of just going about checking people. Everybody, no matter what their political affiliation is pretty much awake to it now. There is no closing eyes. There is no hiding from it. Whatever is happening is going to affect everybody in this country. You can no longer play neutral. You've got to pick a side. That's a big one. I feel a lot of people have sat back. They've tried to play neutral. They've tried to find reasoning in everything, and cheers to them for that. But it's just it's to the point now where that's slipping further and further away. It's something called harsh times. And in these harsh times, say like the 1860s, there was no playing the middle ground. You were either with someone or you were alone. And usually taken up. So, whatever side you're going to pick, Let your morality, let your heart guide you.
Yep.
I think that'll be the truth. And the fact of the matter is, a lot of people don't have that moral compass, and that's what you've seen for the most part. Yeah, from the Antifa crowd and that sort of thing. They fake virtue. Their entire concept is, and I put this earlier, they want us as slaves or dead. Want us to obey their every whim, or they want us dead. And I'm not saying I want you guys to go act out and go out doing crazy stuff or anything like that. I just want you to wait. You will know when the time to act is. And you will know what that means when the time comes. Whatever it does imply. If it means that everything's fine and the ceasefire has begun, then good. If it doesn't, then just obey God and obey, your moral duty. Notice we just had a major drop in viewers. A bit concerning.
Really? Major drop?
Yeah, it seemed like maybe I'm reading this wrong. I've still never figured out YouTube, but we went from a solid 4 viewers to an instant downfall to 1. Maybe we've been cut. It's enough out of you guys. It's enough.
People are like, all right, they're starting to chatter on. Good night.
Yeah. Well, very well then. You want to go ahead and exit us in prayer, War Spirit?
Yeah, affirmative. Dear Lord, we thank you for this day, Father God, and thank you, Lord, for being able to visit with my my colleague here and talk about to all our listeners about the things that they need to be getting ready for, and I pray for our listeners right now, Lord, that you would just bless them, Lord. Lord, I pray, Father God, that they would have been listening to us long enough to be serious with their prepping stuff and have everything squared away. And Lord, I pray, Father God, that as a nation, Lord, as a people, we would continue to spread the good news of you, Lord Jesus. And even in these trying times, Lord, because Lord, in trying times, people will start looking for answers, Lord. And I pray, Father God, that men and women of God would be there to answer those questions that people have, Lord, and that this would just bring more people to your kingdom, Lord. Lastly, Lord, we also pray, Lord, for just all the patriots, Lord, that are throughout the nation, Lord. I pray that you put your hand of protection on them. I pray, Father, that you would continue to provide for them, just like you have always provided for me and my family, Lord. Thank you. We ask for all this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, War Spirit, for joining me this evening. Everyone, be safe and pray.
Bye.
That is my message. Good night, everybody.
The protesters at the point that video was taken